I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road.
What's up, JFW family? Welcome back to the Channel 23 podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to reach out and touch a fleet, to engage and inform everyone with all things JFW. Welcome back, Jim, Brother Dave, and Super Dave.
Hey. Good morning, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I missed you guys.
I missed you.
That was crazy.
It was weird taking a week off, wasn't it?
It was.
Missed doing this,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
All right, let's say the pledge. I pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I want to give everybody a Rico Christensen update. He texted me this morning. Good morning, Jam. I just want to give an update on my cancer journey. I had my last chemo treatment on October 30th, and it was the worst one yet. I had both an MRI and a PET scan this last Monday, and my oncologist said that the tumor responded very well to chemo. Isn't that great? They are giving me a bit to rest to recover before radiation treatments start. I meet with the radiation oncologist on the 21st to go over the MRI and PET scan results and to plan radiation that will start on the 27th of November. I appreciate everyone's prayers, thoughts, and well wishes over the past several months. I'm 1/3 of the way through this, and I'm ready for the next season of my cancer journey. I still covet everyone's prayers.
Awesome, Rico.
Yeah,
That is
awesome
awesome.
update. Yeah.
I really think the radiation is going to be a walk in the park compared to that chemo stuff.
Yeah, the chemo's a drip, right? Is that an IV drip?
Yeah,
It just makes you really
But
sick.
it just makes you so sick, and the radiation, at least my experience with radiation, is it's just there. I mean,
Right.
Yeah,
We've
same.
been being radiated for years.
right? Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, same with Dad when he did his lung radiation, Dave. I mean, it's the after effects 6 months later, or that you get from the scarring when everything's healed.
Sure,
But
yeah.
all they said was to drink a lot of water and that you might feel tired, but it's like you're saying, it's not like the chemo.
It just affects your whole entire body.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Jam, just before the prayer, I won't, we all talked about it here in the beginning of the podcast. Won't mention any names until we kind of talk to the person, but we do have somebody else in the family that's really going to have a tough battle with cancer here. And, we need to, we'll ask if we can mention it, ask him personally, but, we need some prayers for everybody. Like we said a few episodes ago, we got a lot of life going on here.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, and for that individual, I mean, it's hard enough to go through the journey. Don't go through it alone. Let people be there for you. The more people that could pray for you and come alongside you and help you out, the better.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a friend we've known since the 90s.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yep. Well, speaking of prayers, let's get into it. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to go out and do some trucking today. We thank you for the opportunity to work at such an amazing place with such amazing people. We pray for the safety of our fleet, all their families, and all the other families and individuals we come across on the road today. We pray for patience and the making of good, safe decisions. We pray to be accident-free and that we all make it back to the comfort of our homes this evening. We pray for healing and 100% recovery for all of our family members that are ill. No matter what, we trust you, God, and it's in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
I just love that prayer. You know what I mean? The more you read it, Jim, the more I dive into a segment of it at a time, it seems like.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to work here with you all, and I don't mean just the men in this room, but the men and women of JFW, and I'll get into that later, because it is a privilege to work here. Disclaimer, as a reminder, anything you hear on today's podcast is not the opinion of JFW. It's just our expressed opinion.
You make me laugh because you say what a pleasure it is to work here, but this is an expressed opinion only.
It comes with a disclaimer.
Those two didn't line up, Jim.
Yeah,
That's
you should
BS.
put them together.
I love working here, but I'm not accountable for anything I say right now.
Yeah. Before I go any farther, here's the disclaimer.
Yeah. So last week we revisited the Sergeant Greniger episode. It was kind of weird. So first of all, did you guys listen to it when it came out again this week?
I did not.
We didn't. I didn't.
Okay.
No.
I listened to it on the way back from Meeker,
Okay.
and it was good.
Yeah.
But what's crazy, it was episode 30.
Wow.
That long
Episode
ago?
Wow.
30.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I would have
What
guessed
is
70.
this one? 90 what?
105.
105.
Yeah, you were
Sorry.
close. Thanks
Thank
for
you
paying
for that.
attention.
Hey,
Clearly, that 100th episode didn't make an impact, Dave.
Yeah.
whatever.
Were you here that day? I can't remember.
I mean,
But anyway,
God, the syndicated checks I'm getting on that 100th episode since we're syndicated now.
The energy, the interactions we had, Sergeant Greniger's energy, like it was just a good podcast. But to think it was episode 30 and it only had like 285. No, it had. It must have had about 500 downloads, maybe.
The replay, Jim?
No.
The original.
The replay didn't do so hot. It had 223 downloads, but that brought it up to 760.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, total. Okay.
Yep. And then we are at 54.1 thousand total downloads, and we still have 219 followers.
Oh, we just need the
Nice.
one, huh?
Just need the one.
Man, we're getting desperate.
Just need one until I want
or
more.
should we go like 3 and want 222?
There you go. I mean, I want
like that.
300.
That's
I want
nice.
300. So
Is 222 a prime number? I don't
What?
think so.
you would make. I couldn't even get through the intro because the way you were playing with your glasses, it was making me
Got my
laugh.
own little
your-
entertainment
yeah.
pile going
You
here.
need a little fidget spinner or something. It's time for the dad joke challenge. Who's got the best joke today? Go first.
Silence.
I'm going to jump right in there. And this is thank you to Dale.
Dale Boys?
Yep. Shout out, Dale. I'm going to use your joke you gave us last week. So, did you guys hear about the dung beetle that walked in the bar?
The dung beetle.
Dung.
Dung.
Yeah, you know what a dung beetle is, right?
I do. They're really interesting, really.
Yeah, it's great to watch them in
Shitty job,
like
but
fast motion on a video. Hungry
Act-
little boogers.
I was actually hiking near Red Rocks one day, and there was a dung beetle, and I put some metal behind it, like metal music, and he was like pushing it and pushing it, and he got like to the spot, and right before like the breakdown happened, like he fell and it like rolled him over. I could find a video, I'll send it to you guys. But so then I picked up the dung, and I was like, I didn't understand it was like cow poop or something, and yeah, it was like all cold and stuff. It's so funny.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
That is funny.
So
So, do you know what the
We lost your joke, Dave. Sorry.
what the dung
Yeah.
beetle asked when he
What
walked
did he
in the
say?
bar? He looked at the bartender and said, "Excuse me, is that stool taken?"
oh, that's funny.
Oh, man.
Good one. Good one,
That
Dale.
was one of those jokes where it was mildly amusing the first time you hear it.
Wow.
Dave!
Gee.
All right. Don't test your jokes on me anymore. Oh, man, I have to think about that
All
disclaimer.
right. I'll follow up then since I'm hacking on Dave. Y'all
But
can
you're
hack.
excited about yours.
You can hack on me. So you all know that everything happens for a reason, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Usually the reason is you are stupid and you make bad decisions.
Oh, man. That's rough. That is rough.
I'm not saying you're stupid. You just have trouble thinking.
No, isn't it operating on a different emotional plane?
Oh, yeah. Pretty close. He's operating from a different emotional scale.
Scale,
Yeah,
right.
That's an Erica White quote that
Right.
has stuck with us forever. All right, Jim.
Well, mine's from Casey this morning, and he sent it to me. And I guess he watches or follows, and I hadn't heard of him. And there is some good funny ones in here, but the doorbell dad. So he says, "What do you call 007 in the bathtub?"
I don't know.
I should know this one. It seems like
Yeah.
it should just like be perfectly clear.
Bubble 07.
Something
Bubble
else. There you
07.
go.
And the one I had, I got to say this one because I thought it was a good one that I brought. Why did the teddy bear say no to the dessert?
I know this one only because you shared it earlier.
Don't
No
know.
clue.
He was stuffed.
Oh, man. That's a good dad joke.
Is your other one the ice cream one?
That is
there?
a good dad
You want me
joke.
to do the ice cream
You
one?
may
I
as
can
well
do the
do
ice
the
cream
Wow.
one.
too.
Keep them coming.
Where do you learn to make ice cream?
YouTube.
Sunday school.
Hey. Good ones. So my dad joke is brought from my daughter, Bella, today. And her jokes are getting better. I think I was telling you the other day. It used to be like, what do you get with spaghetti and an orange? And then the answer is like, whatever, but she is. Exactly. And then she'll laugh and I'll laugh. But the other day she tells me, Dad, how do you beat up a bear?
You have a barbecue.
No,
Barely something. I don't know.
Bare fist.
close.
Bare paw.
Your bare hands.
Bare hand.
Ah, very good.
Nice job.
That's
man.
a good
job,
one,
Bella.
Bella.
Daddy loves you.
Yep.
Good stuff. All right, new employees. We got Aaron Gary, Chris Moore, and Victor Saucedo. Welcome to the fleet, guys.
Nice. Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard, guys.
We got some celebrations to catch up on. Ray Davis hit 4 years on the 29th. Happy anniversary, Ray. 4 years we've been putting up with Ray.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary, Ray.
Yeah.
0013.
Yeah, this one I can't believe. Bree Baldridge has been here 1 year, November 2nd.
Wow.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
Bree.
congratulations,
Man,
Bree.
that
She
went-
was good on the podcast.
Both
She was good on the
podcast guests.
podcast.
Yeah, Ray was.
Yeah, Ray was good on the podcast. But Bree, I mean, silent warrior for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
she gets it done.
Yep.
And then Manny Velasquez, he hit 2 years on November 6th. It's more than that, but 2 years since his return.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's a returning veteran
Yeah.
for us.
So he's got to be at least a 5-year guy total, at least.
He should probably be
Yeah,
close to
probably.
that.
He was here.
Close.
He was here when I got here.
First time jams, what you're
Yeah.
saying? Yeah,
We-
so he's...
We
No.
haven't had an update on his back.
He's at home recovering. I think I saw
Because he had another surgery.
he had
right?
like a
Yeah.
third surgery, still in a little pain. The doctor's just telling him that his nerve has been beat up pretty bad and just give it time to heal.
Wow.
So we're thinking about you, Manny. You're still in our prayers, buddy.
Absolutely.
Yep. Happy anniversary.
We hope you and your family are doing well. All right. Birthdays. Seabass had a birthday November 2nd.
Happy birthday,
Yeah, happy
Seabass.
birthday.
Paco Pax Nahara has a birthday today.
Happy birthday today.
Yep, he's
And
21.
Pax
He was,
is
he was last night. He was just freaking out how old he was turning. And like, I can't believe it.
I got a decade on him, but he's still getting old. Yep. And then Aaron Gary, his birthday's this Saturday. Happy birthday, Aaron.
Happy birthday, Aaron.
Happy birthday.
Family birthday celebrations. We got Adelina Areola had a birthday last week. I think she turned 13. Anissa Carrizosa and Janet White had a birthday November 3rd. Anissa is Nat's girlfriend or fiance or wife.
Nice.
Daisy Gamage had a birthday on November 6th. And Alan Martinez, Tony Martinez's son, also had a birthday last week. So
Wow. Happy
happy
birthday, everybody.
everybody.
Yep. And I got to throw mine in there. Erica's birthday was Monday.
Oh,
The
happy
6th.
anniversary.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. How old is Erica?
Oh, shoot, Jan. Thanks a lot for asking.
26.
25. 6?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, 26 because Allie turned 28.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Shout outs. Our first and foremost shout out is to Rich Trujillo.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Already did it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, is it on there twice?
No, I didn't. I didn't hear. I guess I didn't hear you, Jan.
Are you here today?
I guess not. I guess. Yeah. Just so everybody knows, because we're keep talking and keep recording here, is I didn't hear him read the new employees.
You must have checked out
Wow,
there
I
for
must
a
have
second.
been thinking.
Come back, Jim.
Join me on episode 93.
Oh, damn, Super Dave, you're on it today. Can we replay this one just so I can catch up?
Shout out to Rich for stepping out of his comfort zone and fighting to make a difference. And this is in regards to him running for city council in Ward
3?
3,
Ward 3 in
Commerce City.
Yep.
Things didn't swing Rich's way yesterday, but he put up a fight. His name wasn't even on the ballot, but he still pulled off 300 votes.
That's the killer thing. I mean,
Just shy of 300.
Yeah.
just
but
shy
I mean,
of 300.
yeah.
Well,
No
we'll
matter
bump it up.
how he feels today and the effort and his wife and all that kind of stuff, not to be on the ballot
And got 300 people
Yes.
to write his name down.
Yes.
I mean, that's people that want change.
We can't get 300 people to follow this podcast, and we've been doing it for 2 years.
Right?
Yeah, they know our name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That was
great
a shout.
job,
Great job,
Rich.
Rich.
Proud of you, buddy.
Yeah, you did something a lot of people, first of all, would never have the opportunity to do, and even if they did have the opportunity, they would be too scared to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
great job.
because if he won, I mean, that's when the challenge would really start for Rich.
Right.
But he was willing to take that chance.
Yeah.
I wonder if he does it again.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, that seat was only a 2-year seat because it was appointed to this person. So
Is it a 4-year now?
it's the balance of a 2-year seat. So this election will happen again for that seat in 2 years.
Oh, and he could be more prepared and
Oh man,
get
if his name's on the ballot, I'm telling you, a shoe-in.
Huh.
A shoe-in. Yeah.
Nice.
I just, I know you put him in there as shout-outs, Jam, but I mean, Rich and Joni, I mean, I'm sure he'll play this for Joni or at least share it with her, but I mean, those two took on something that, like when you said they stepped out of their comfort zone, you don't know what that's like until you knock on a perfect stranger's door at their home
A lot.
and go, hey, vote for me, and here's the reason why. I want to help make change in Commerce City because of this, and this, and make it a better place. And for them to do that, just that alone, I know moving forward, they may not feel it today because I bet today, it might be
might sting a little bit.
a little bit of a sting, maybe a tail between your legs, and I hope not.
Yeah,
I don't feel that way, and I feel I was very invested, and JFW was very invested in helping with this, and I'm proud. I guess I'm not shocked, right? You know what I mean? To be a write-in and win, the success rate of that, I don't even know. It's got to be probably less than 1%.
Right.
But I mean, he got almost 300 votes.
Right.
That just rocks my mind. Like, how on earth?
Did 300 people write your name in?
Yes.
Yeah, and
you,
basic-
you impacted 300 people's lives
Right.
to write your name in on a ballot.
300 people are upset that you didn't win.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
more than that, because
Yes.
not everybody could
Absolutely.
vote if they weren't
Absolutely.
in your ward.
Yeah.
And they were strangers.
Right.
It's not like, like you saying, Jam, everybody listening to our podcast, we can't get 300. We have 150 employees, but they're here listening.
Yes.
He had none of that. He had with no name on the ballot. I guess that's where and even me and Holly, I know Dave and Janet did it the weekend. Erica and James did it that weekend. We went and knocked on people's doors, and like Dave's saying, for Joni and Rich to do it, several weekends. That was just so far out of my comfort zone to knock on people's doors and try to have a communication with them, and I did it. I did it for Rich, but I did it also to get out of my comfort zone and try to do that and see how people reacted. And luckily it was early enough. It was a beautiful day, but I actually have to say I enjoyed walking with Holly, the neighborhood, and
Nice.
And talking to people about making things better.
yeah, and we ran into some great people. We only ran into one really grumpy, and they weren't grumpy. They were just like, no, they shouldn't have answered the door,
Right.
kind of
Right.
thing. But yeah, had some good conversations, and that's neat that's still America, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, come knock on my door and you will feel uncomfortable. I promise.
I just know both of their lives are going to be changed forever
Right.
Yeah.
for the better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to take this experience, and I bet both of them have grown so much and understand our system so much more. And it's still mind-boggling to me that we're in a place where I think, and I need to go back and look at this, so please nobody tie me to this number, but I think only 20% of the people in their district voted.
Wow.
So of all the people that lived there, 20% voted. That was it. And we need to work on that.
Right.
Because the only way to make change is we need to get people to vote. And that there is disheartening. You know, and I just want to back up and add to this for both Rich and Joni. You know, the only reason Renee got 900 votes because she was the only name on there.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Yeah,
Dave.
and the people that vote, when there's only one box and one name, you just check that box.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think
Because you're not going to stop them from winning.
Yeah, in the elections last night, there were so many elections that were coming across the TV as completed and stuff,
Unopposed.
and they ran unopposed. And when they run unopposed, you check
win.
that box,
Right.
But I mean, most people check that box,
Right.
I did on my ballot, Dave, because they were unopposed.
Right.
I'm not going to stop them, so what difference does it make?
Right. So I mean, I truly believe she won by default,
Right.
just because it was a check the box.
Which is a lot of how the left get things is by.
Oh, true. I mean, that's what's so amazing about Rich is he was like, I can't let this happen.
Right.
I can't let this happen. And I kid you not, I fully believe in my heart. His name on the ballot, he won. You know what I mean? If his name could have been on the ballot, he would have won.
Rich,
I
do
just-
it again in 2 years, Rich, and I bet things will swing the other way.
Yep. Before you say no, just absorb that a couple days, you guys. Think it through.
Absorb it for a year, and then get busy.
Yeah.
All right, Benny Gonzalez wants to give a shout out to Alex Reza, and we'd like to give a shout out to Benny Gonzalez for this because he did it too, but for helping push a car out of the way. So don't know all the details on that, but it sounds like they made some things happen. And
Awesome.
I just think that's amazing. I just, for everybody that's listening and hear that, though, when you do that, just please be careful of the other people, that when you're out there pushing, because people are stupid.
I was just going to say, I didn't want to say it. What was Dave's joke?
the scene needs to be safe for you to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just be careful. Watch.
Yep.
So, because I think that is so good. I think that is
Right.
so. You solve a problem by pushing that car out of the way, probably saving somebody's life.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to JR for having my back while I was gone. I was gone for quite a few days, and JR stepped up and handled some things for me. So appreciate you, buddy.
Yep. Thanks, JR.
And then
Absolutely.
we want to give a shout out to the day and night crew in the shop for covering for Mikey. That's a big task as well. And for Mikey to be able to step away and not worry about things while he's gone is super important.
Yeah, I think that puts a lot of stress on the shop, just because it's more communication, it's more doing things that aren't in their comfort zone sometimes, because Mike makes those decisions, or they can go ask, or different stuff like that. And like you're saying, night and day shop, and I sent you that, and I know you said you had that down there. I picked out like Chris and Ricky because that's who I see during the day, and
Right.
Obviously John when he comes to the meetings and stuff. But a lot of the night guys, I just don't see or communicate with, and like you're saying, those guys are all here. Mikey didn't line anything up for him from the day. That came from the day and then into the night. And I know John, and his team, they made some decisions, got a hood changed and rear ends changed, and things up and running, and that's I guess those are just things you just don't you don't see them. They're behind the scenes.
Yeah, and that's important when somebody on a leadership team takes a vacation. Nobody wants to come back to a total chaos and absolute mess.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you probably don't even want to go. It's not worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great job, everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for shout outs, and I know I mentioned her a couple of weeks ago too. For myself, Ann covers a lot of my stuff, and I was gone last week.
Same thing. Linda mentioned while she was gone, she felt like dispatch was in good hands.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's where we, the talk about the extra guys and different stuff like that, for the PTO program too. And we have our guys that step up and do our PTO. I mean, Kendrick was here yesterday asking me, did I need this and that? Because Scooby was gone, and he goes, he was joking. He goes, I'm Scooby 2. Not like Scooby-Doo, but Scooby-2, right?
That's funny.
And he said, do you need anything? And I'm like, no, I appreciate that, Kendrick. And, it's like you said, it's a privilege to work here.
It is.
Good people.
It really is. Shout out to the snow crew for knocking out the first storm, and shout out to Kendra, Casey, and Scooby for having all the equipment ready to go. So I remember a couple storms ago, we were kind of caught with our pants down, and I know we've been working hard to
Not
to
let
get
that
things
happen.
a little bit more organized, and
Yep.
it's easy to forget about when it hasn't been snowing for 8 months to be prepared for that first storm. So
Absolutely.
great job, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Great job, brother Dave, too.
God.
I know you didn't do it, but I know you've kind of led a few things throughout the years to try to get us where we're at as well. But people have taken the lead on that and are doing a good
Yeah,
job.
everybody's doing outstanding. Potter as well.
Yep.
Yeah, Potter, and I think that's too that you guys, when we, I know those guys sent in lists. Mike said do it this way, trying to get on top of it. The guys out in the shop, they shop are working on stuff. Dave, you corrected the list, and I just think it's so hard when equipment sits, and you either parked it with a problem that you don't remember or we didn't get to because we were busy, and then it sits all this time, and then you go back to fire it up and it's just it's difficult when things aren't a routine.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So good job, everybody.
Ryan Emmerling wants to give a shout out. Good morning, Jam. I'd like to give a shout out to Troy Hunt for helping me fix my stack mount last week at Arcosa running to CMEX. It was a temporary fix to get me through the day. It saved me a trip to the shop, and it didn't cost me any loads. Thanks for coming in clutch, compadre. So nice
Awesome.
shout
Way
out.
to go, Troy.
Yeah, good
Thanks,
job,
Ryan,
cowboy.
for the shout out.
Oh, yeah. Veronica Ariola wants to give you a couple shout outs. Good morning, Jam. I want to give Amy Power a shout out for the amazing gift she gifted me and my daughter. We had an amazing time celebrating our 13th birthday. Also, shout out to Troy 0077 for helping us out Monday at the Mile High Stadium with cleaning off our trailer rails when we got loaded. So, nice shout out for Amy and Troy.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah, and those are Amy Powers had those tickets in her family for a long time, and
Yeah, it's
I know
awesome.
Dave used them last year for the San
Yeah.
Francisco game, Dave. But they are like on the 50-yard line, Dave, and like second row, first row.
Yeah. First
I mean,
row.
there are-
Not to get technical, but it's like the 47-yard line.
That 47th.
I mean, it's as close to the 50 as you can get. I do believe the two tickets she has in the second row, right behind them, are on the 50-yard line.
Gotcha,
I mean, like
gotcha.
literally 2 seats over. I mean, yeah, when she puts those up and you see a game you want to go to, it's always cool to jump in there. They're not cheap. You know what I mean? They're not cheap.
Yeah, and her family's held them all this time
Yeah,
and paid
yeah.
all this money all that time too. And,
Right,
And I guess
right.
what I was leading to is, Dave, like you said, they're not cheap, but Amy Powers donated those.
Yes.
To Veronica for the accident.
Right.
And then ended up being her daughter's birthday,
Right.
13th birthday.
It was like
I mean,
a win-win
yeah,
all the way
it
around.
was-
And they're Broncos fans.
yeah, right.
That's a rarity.
Right? Yeah. So good job, Amy. Thank you very
I'm a
much.
Bronco fan
I am too, Dave. They've won a game. Oh, wait a minute.
2.
They've won 2.
in a row.
Yeah.
That's right.
Got a shout
Against
out from
Kansas. Sorry, Jim.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You
no,
guys are talking football.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
like-
Shout,
They've also won
shout-
2 other games that you might have forgotten. They're called Super Bowls.
Wow. Man.
Wow.
Who
It's more than 2,
I
Dave.
think there's a rule on that. When it gets 10 years old, you can't talk about
Oh,
it.
no way.
I want to know who put something in Dave's Cheerios this morning.
I'm telling you.
They sprinkled something in there.
Right? How you going?
Mondo Duval's got a shout out, a couple shout outs or an announcement. Good morning, JFW family. Want to give a shout out to Chris, a mechanic, for working on my truck yesterday afternoon. For nearly 2 hours, he was fixing my PTO, and it was giving him problems, but he still worked on it and got it done. Thank you, Chris. Also want to give a shout out to all of our veterans we have in this company. Thank you for your service. Veterans Day is this Saturday, so if you're not working, go out and get free food from some restaurants. If you Google free food for Veterans Day, it will show you who's doing it and what time. Here are a few I will mention. Texas Roadhouse, Little Caesars, Olive Garden, Wendy's Only Breakfast, Dickey's Barbecue, Fazoli's, Dave & Buster's, free food and a free $10 game card, and much more. Go eat and have fun, and you deserve it. Wow, so basically we could just go spend a day going to all these restaurants
Wow.
eating for free. That's awesome.
Right, that's amazing to celebrate
That
the
is
veterans.
cool.
Yeah.
I feel like kind of an idiot. I probably shouldn't even say this, just to prove how dumb I am. But I think it was last year we went into, I'm going to say Village Inn. It was someplace like that, and there was a whole group of veterans. You could tell they had their hats on and different stuff like that. And I was telling Holly, I'm like, that's a neat group. I feel like I should buy them lunch. you know, and it was Veterans Day. It was already free when I figured out what was
They
going
got it covered.
Yeah, they had it covered. That's what they were there for as a group. And I'm like, oh, it's already taken care of. I guess got out of that one.
Nice.
But no,
Yep. Happy Veterans Day, everybody.
absolutely.
Is that today?
Saturday.
This coming Saturday?
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for your service.
Yeah,
It's-
absolutely.
We wouldn't have our freedoms without that.
Hey, and then to back up, I want to mention the PTO and working on the truck, and you know, for Chris and Mike and the shop, and to go over that. And I don't want to throw, I don't know, Kenworth or Peterbilt under the bus, or MHC.
How about PACCAR?
And Rush. Well, it's MHC or Rush. It's not even a pack car on this one, Jim.
Oh, gotcha.
So
PACCAR caused issue.
yeah, they did cause the issue. So anyway, when he was in, Chris said, "Hey, I can't get the PTO to work. That was this problem. You know, it wasn't grounding out and everything like that." And then Chris looked, and it was a new transmission in it. And Mike's like, "Yeah, go ahead and take the PTO off it." And what happens is the mechanic at Rush or at MHC doesn't clean the transmission out well enough, and the PTO. The PTO is the lowest point. It has oil in it, and when the transmissions break, little pieces get down in the PTO, and if you don't take the PTO off, you know, turn it upside down, somehow spray it out or clean it out, these little chunks stay down in the bottom of the PTO, and then every once in a while, the PTO will lift them out, and they get stuck.
In the gears or something.
Well, they do. They've trashed a PTO. They broke a PTO but they get stuck on the what do you call it? The fork, and it won't allow the PTO to move.
Yeah, and the fork lays right in the bottom, so if there's a chunk big enough, the debris stops the fork from
Doesn't
moving.
cycle all the way.
Yeah, and you
it can't push it over.
Yeah, you can't engage it. So, you know, I guess I wanted to throw that out there, that's nothing to do with our trucks.
Wow.
We're fixing somebody else's.
We fix a lot of other people's problems around here.
Right.
I mean, we had a transmission break. Parts fell out of it into the bottom of the PTO, and then we had the transmission replaced, and the PTO didn't get cleaned out.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
it in a
and-
nutshell.
And here's Chris, and the truck's down. We paid the driver for the time, and none of it our fault.
Yeah.
Really. So, and I'm that's not the point. The point is we don't have junky stuff, but it sure looks like it.
Yeah, it feels like it sometimes.
It feels like it, yeah.
I got a couple personal shout outs I'd like to make. First and foremost, Mikey for being an amazing hunting host. Mikey took such good care of me out there on this hunting trip. It was amazing.
Nice.
He's a man for sure. Want to give a shout out to my wife and daughter for supporting me while I was away and taking care of the house while I was gone and making my return special. It's always good to come home I was gone for 8 days away from my house and my family, and to come home to sidewalk art and, a clean home just to make it comfortable, and then helping me unload a camper and a truck just so we could get to family time and stuff like that. It felt really good.
That's
Nice.
awesome. Yeah.
And then I want to give a shout out to my mom for being a total badass. Right now I know where I get it from. So before I left, we didn't have cell service out there, right? So I got the number to the ranch for emergencies. I gave it to my wife and I gave it to my mom. If you guys have an emergency, call the landline. They'll let me know what's going on, and I'll get in touch with you.
Went old school, huh, Jam?
Went old
That's
school.
old school, man.
Yeah. So I get home Sunday. I call my mom Monday morning, and she asked me all about my hunting trip. We take about probably 10 minutes just telling her all about it and stuff like that. And then she asked me if I heard about her activities. I'm like, no, Mom, I didn't. She's like, well, did you talk to your sister? Because my sister's birthday was also November 6th. I was like, yeah, I wished her a happy birthday. She's like, she didn't tell you what I've been up to? I'm like, no, what's going on? And I thought she made a new friend, or she got involved in a new thing that she does.
Bought a new car or something, whatever.
Something,
Activities.
She's like, oh, well, I fell off the dryer and I broke my hip. I'm like, what?
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal. So, first question is, obviously you okay? And she's laughing, and I could tell it's not life-threatening because we're on the phone days later, right? So she got a stool, climbed up on the dryer, put a towel down, got on her knees to reach up for something, slipped off the dryer, fell hard, broke her hip, busted her head open, and heads bleed a lot. She only got two staples in her head, but it was a bloody mess.
Yeah, it
right?
had to be deep enough for stitches, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
staples, yep. So, yeah, so just I'm like, well, what happened? She's like, I had to have emergency surgery. I'm like, well, what'd they do? She's like, total hip replacement. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Why didn't you call the ranch? She's like, well, what were you going to do? You're not going to come home because I broke my hip and I'm okay. I'm not dying, So
Yeah.
my mom, she didn't say this, but I know she wanted me to enjoy myself and not worry about her, right? So last night, I call her I called her yesterday because she's getting out of, what do they call it? Occupational therapy, whatever. Rehab.
Rehab.
Yeah. And then I called her again just to check on her. And I'm like, did they give you any pain pills? She's like, no, all I take is Tylenol. I'm not going to take pain pills. I did take one Oxy in the ER waiting to be seen. But I don't know what's wrong with people. They're just wimps. I'm like...
like I told you yesterday, and not to take anything, it's women.
Yeah.
They are badass.
They're tough.
They're tough. I mean, both my daughters have broke their ankles, and there wasn't a bunch of screaming. There wasn't, are we going to the hospital, and both of them, the one I heard, the one you could tell,
right.
The stuff, Holly, had a horse fall on her. She broke her pelvis. And it was like, it's all good, so, shout out to all the women and how tough they are. And a shout out to your mom.
Yeah. One of the more badass parts of this story is she wouldn't let my stepdad call an ambulance. She's like, I don't want 7 firemen in the house. And,
That's the part that got me.
Yeah.
Jam.
She Wilson, my stepdad, helped her up, got her to the
It was
elevator.
broke.
Yeah.
And got her to the car.
A broken hip, gushing head.
Yeah, got her to the
wound.
car.
Yeah.
And got to the
Right?
emergency
Yeah.
room. Yeah. So, Mom, you are just badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
great
Way to
job.
go, Mom.
Yep, absolutely. That's awesome.
Yep. Any shout outs from you guys?
Just the kind of the ones we all covered, the shop and different
Yeah.
stuff, and
Great.
JR, and
Yeah.
I know we talked about your mom and stuff like that. I think I don't know if we have it in here because I got to say, obviously, I've been tuned in and out, and
Wait, where are we?
Tuned in and out. 96th episode.
well, managers 30.
Can't wait to get to 100.
I don't know. Do we have anything in there about Kendrick starting the new training?
No, you want to talk about that?
Well, I wanted to give him a shout out
Do it.
about, he came up with a different plan, and you never know on this stuff if it's going to work or not. And I know Kendrick has wrote a different plan, and we're letting him train the new guys a little different way. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Kendrick for being involved and, trying something new and seeing how it's working. So, shout out to Kendrick, and hopefully this helps everybody in the training. We'll go from there.
Yeah, and I mean, just to clarify on that, what we're starting with is day one when a new employee starts, like yesterday when Aaron, Gary, Chris Moore, and Victor Saucedo started.
Nice job.
Or was that today?
No, that was Monday.
Aaron
Monday.
started
Oh,
last
Monday.
week,
Monday.
and
Okay.
Victor and actually Norman started in between. So Aaron actually started first. Norman started with another driver that's no longer with us, but and then Victor and Victor and the other guy,
Chris?
Chris. Yes,
Moore.
thank you. Started just this week.
And
Nice.
they all had
Man,
my
we've
gosh.
screwed this all up. I went south fast. Anyway,
I'm the guy that's been gone for 12 days.
Right.
Like, you guys should have your act
the
together.
point is they all start day one with JR in orientation. And we kind of feed them with a little bit of a fire hose and give them this app to download and that app to download. And this is our fuel system. And, this is our,
PTO,
safety has no blind spot program.
yeah.
This is how the PTO works. All the things we take for granted because we're all pros and use the things every day, right? They're kind of getting it force fed to them, right? So we hold it to not a 12-hour day on Monday. Then they turn around on day 2 and day 3 and spend with Kendrick now training over at yard 23 and do some backing in blind side, backing in driver side, backing in, just practicing backing. Then they go over dumping and he just has this multitude of lessons and things that he sets him up in. And, we kind of learn and find some possible behavioral patterns on, hey, all right, this guy has trouble backing in blind side. Maybe we need to do a little more work with him or her or whatever the case may be. And I don't know, we're excited that, we may bring some more honest value to those we serve, and it helps everyone out in the long run.
Have we got any feedback on how that's going?
I think pretty good. I mean, we had one situation where, it actually paid off, Jam, because we think we may have saved some heartache later down the road. We wound up letting a guy go.
Gotcha.
I mean, he was here 4 days and we let him go.
Gotcha.
He didn't fit our culture, didn't fit what we talk about, wasn't a good representative, and thank goodness it was his first day with his actual trainer in the truck that we found out from the day prior with Kendrick. There were some hiccups and Kendrick brought it to our attention. We were able to reach out to Dustin, was his trainer, and Dustin was like, "Oh yeah, this is the problem." And we said, "Well, we just nipped it in the bud. We just brought the guy in that night and had to let him go." Which,
great job.
That's never a feel good, but in the long run, why waste our time? I
don't know. I think it feels pretty good to nip something in the bud and not have problems later.
Right. Oh yeah.
I mean,
other than what we had lost in training cost, and those things, no, it wasn't a waste at all.
Yeah.
Jim.
What if, the training cost versus an accident or something?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Catastrophic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't fix that.
Nope. Good job. All right, let's get into the discussion. Super Dave, I'm going to turn this over to you for a little bit because these first 5 or 6 points are yours.
Yeah, so we've had a couple of incidents in the last couple of weeks that were totally preventable. And, honestly, we get complacent out there. You're doing so many repetitions. You're doing 6 loads to plant 2 in one day. And you're going to run plant 2, I don't know, let's just say 15 times, 15 days in out of the next month and a half or something, right? So what we do has a lot of repetition, and we can overlook things because we're, just going through the motions, so to speak. So I came up with these things that are really just common sense, you guys, and I'm going to throw them out there. Hopefully everybody can get a little bit of something out of these and, prevent any incidents at certain places that you might be visiting. So first thing, know your surroundings before and after you stop. So when you pull up and stop, let's see, you're going to 7-Eleven, you're getting out to put your ticket in the ticket box, you're talking to a loader operator, whatever you're doing, pay attention before you stop. And then when you're getting ready to go again, pay attention where you're at, what's around you. Know all the surroundings. And in the oil field, they're required to put a cone out in front of their truck or behind their truck. Brandon has that rule. They have these little bitty cones that are 6 or 8 inches tall. Mm-hmm. They have to put them right on the hood of their trucks. Yeah. So when they go back to their truck after a meeting or after servicing something, they have to get that cone off, which makes them remember, do a walk around, check my surroundings before I move the vehicle.
Yeah, that's such a good idea because once you're stopped, if you're not paying attention, somebody could have put something behind you or
things move, right?
If the shop's been working on your truck and you need to back out of the shop, it's always good to do a little walk around, make sure they didn't leave, a jack or something behind you.
You parked somewhere you don't normally park.
Right.
So when you take off, you're just and go, right?
Yep.
Guilty.
Yep,
also,
everybody is. And I always think about your story of Rich when you were kids in the fire hydrant.
Right. The last time I talked to Rich, he brought that up. He was like, man, I was listening to that story on the podcast and you were talking about it. And he's like, pretty soon it dawned on it, that was me.
Hi, Rich. How you doing?
Shout out, Rich. I hope you're listening. Hope things are going well, man.
Yeah, the oil fields also has that rule called first move forward. You got to, your first move needs to be forward. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
I hadn't heard that one, Jim. Yep. That's like what was the one? Lift and
look and
cover.
lean?
No.
Lift and
lift and cover, right?
Drop and cover.
Drop and cover.
No, drop. Yeah, drop and cover. Drop your
Yes,
speed 10
drop,
minutes.
drop 10,
miles
cover
an
the
hour.
brake.
Yep. Very good. The next thing on my list here is think before you do something that is a deviation from your normal routine. So one of the situations that happened was because the driver deviated from what he usually does. And he did it because of the external circumstances that were around where he dumped. And so he thought, trying to be nice and be efficient in that way to allow the other guy to enter the area and do his job as well. Well, he deviated from where he normally parked in a different place and forgot about where he was parked, and he was very close to some posts. And he hit the post. So think about it when you're about to deviate from a normal routine.
Before you jump, I mean, that's bit me in the butt a few times where you do certain things certain way for so long, and then there's a little change in the circumstance.
Oh, buddy.
And it just
Even if
screws
it's
you all
simple
up.
things, you put your keys down in a different place. And you're
Yeah.
like, well, where's my keys? Oh, my God.
They're locked
Right.
in my
They're not
car.
where they're supposed to be.
They're locked in my car.
Right. Oh, isn't that a terrible feeling when you shut the door and you're like, where are my keys? And you're looking through the window and they're
They're like smiling and waving at you.
yeah.
Have you guys ever seen the video of the dad that's trying to? He's got a hanger and he left his keys on the console and his kid's locked in there, but the window's cracked a little bit. So he's trying to get the keys and he knocks them off the console. So the kid picks them up and puts them back on the console. It is so funny.
So things tend to go wrong when you deviate from your routine. So you forget, you don't look, or you don't see things that are closer or are out of place when you've pulled over and stopped. Okay, so that's the routine thing. Number 3, do not hurry because of someone else. This is so common. I am so guilty of that because I'm trying to be considerate. I'm trying to be, helpful to the other people.
Yep.
And so when you hurry, it knocks you out of what you're normally doing. You're doing things insufficiently, like you don't clean your tailgate off because you're in a hurry. Then you break somebody's windshield or something like that. So don't get in a hurry. You own that moment. You are in that place. And an example I use is when you're pulling on the scale and you need axle weights because you're going through the port and you have a line of trucks behind you and maybe they're like, hey, what are you doing, JFW? Get out of my way. And you own that scale. Get your axle weights, do it correctly, write them down, do your math. You own that scale. And if you're dumping in the bin and there's 3 trucks behind you, you own that bin. Do what you need to do. Don't hurry and get out of the way. Do what you got to do and do it correctly. Number 4, please don't just jump in a truck and go. Develop a mental checklist each time you release those brakes to pull away from anything. The bin, the pile, the parking place, the store, wherever you are. Develop that mental checklist so you get in that habit and you don't forget something. So many times these guys will forget to push the red button in and they drag their trailer across the yard because they're in a hurry and they haven't developed that checklist. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth. Number 5, don't turn the wheel before you start moving, and always be sure your steer wheels are perfectly straight when you park your truck. Man, that is such a common thing. When I'm doing test drives, the candidate is trying so hard to get that truck parked in its parking spot and make the space between the mirrors or the yellow lines on the curb or blocks behind you. And then they stop and they look at me, okay, I'm done. And their steer tires are like chalked 2 turns to the left or something. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, what's wrong? So that means whoever gets in that truck the next time is going to immediately drive forward because your steering wheel might be straight, but
it's straight crooked.
But it's two turns to the left or to the right.
Yeah.
So always be sure when you park your truck, whether you're at the store, whether you're at a plant, at the pit, that your steer tires are straight. And then when you, and this is the second part of this thing here, that set yourself up to be able to drive away safely before you get out of the truck to go do whatever you're there to do.
Yep, absolutely.
Make sure so that then you don't even have to remember really because you've checked it beforehand. You're 20 feet away from that concrete post. You're out of the way. You're, and so forth. So again, I guess that's kind of the checklist, huh?
Yeah, it's funny too, Super Dave, when you talk about that, and this because you were part of that group when we were 12 or 18 trucks and we were all in a row out there. If you didn't leave your truck at night with the wheels straight or your truck straight lined up with the trailer, you got shit
Oh, from the other drivers, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You took
I
a
mean,
beating for
yeah,
not the next day, the next month.
Yeah. I was like, oh, you didn't have your
Yep.
yeah, you didn't have your 6-pack of Back Me Up, because you just think in your head, oh, you're talking about, it doesn't look good because they're turned. No, it's a safety thing.
It is.
It all leads to safety.
And I guess that's in a way that peer pressure helped make you a better driver.
Oh yeah,
because
it led
then you
to-
paid attention.
Yeah,
You're
it
like,
led
"Oh,
to
I'm not gonna be
professionalism.
that guy."
Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we can't ridicule anybody.
Well,
Anymore.
it's about learning how to do things right.
Yep.
And
I mean, we could.
We can.
I mean, my son will look right at you and go, having a bully is a good thing.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
being a bully, having a bully. If you've been bullied, you learn some shit. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that you learn hierarchy. You learn.
Doesn't that bully sometimes just hold you to accountability though?
It depends on what type of bully, right? I mean, there's bad bullies.
yeah, I wouldn't
and
call that a bully though. I'd
Yeah.
call
Yeah,
that.
I mean, somebody that
some people
friend,
may,
maybe,
Some people
you know?
may though, Dave.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right.
So the next one is also about your steer tires and about your steering wheel. Do not turn the wheel before you start moving. Always be sure your steer wheels are perfectly straight when you park. Set yourself up. Oh, I already did that one. Never mind. But yeah, do not turn your steer wheels before you start moving.
Yeah. Now that one,
Yeah.
Dave, you didn't do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing for backing up, Dave. I mean, how many times have you pull straight into our shop, but the first thing somebody does to back up is turn the wheel.
Right.
And on the scale.
Yeah, same thing on the scale. Yeah, I mean, you pulled on the scale straight. I know you're not supposed to back up on the scale, but if you had to, you were on there straight. Don't move that wheel.
Right. So what happened that brought this up was the driver that went out of his normal routine because he was in a hurry to let the truck behind him get pulled up to the bin and dump. He normally parks along the curb on the right-hand side at Plant 2. And in this case, he pulled to the left because he dumped in the pea gravel bin.
Like
which
over
is-
by the fuel aisle.
It's right. It's way at the other end. So anyway, he turned the steering wheel the wrong way before he started to move because he was in a different place. And then he started to move and we hit the post, But don't ever, park with your steer tires straight, ready to drive away, and then drive away straight.
And in addition to that, I mean, we're trained as operators or as drivers. The minute you start to move, prior to movement, you look left, you look right, you look in both your mirrors, you make sure nothing is around you, then you go.
But
Right? Even if those other things you didn't do that you've mentioned, Dave, you still verify. Okay, this is I'm the captain of the ship. Am I going to run it aground somewhere? Right? So
in this particular driver, though, when you think about what you just said, Dave, he was too busy taking off his safety vest while moving.
He
Yes.
was doing that too. Yeah.
There was no way he
That's-
could have looked out either mirror or really in front of him or anything because he was
That's
taking his
distracted
vest.
driving.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
taking his vest off.
Just like if we were on the CB or we were on the phone,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's distraction. I just thought of another thing that's important as well. Oh gosh, now you got me off of it, Jim, and I forgot what I was going to say
Sorry, Dave.
because it's not written down either.
Are we out of routine? We missed a week and we're not.
No, I just was thinking about it when you were talking, but
I'm writing a lot of times down.
yeah. Well, something else that is on here, though, it's the same thing when you're pulling on the scale. You've got to keep those steer tires straight. You got to line yourself up, just like, and I asked the guys, well, when you're pulling under the bin at Fryer at Morrison, aren't you lining yourself up to the bin and to make sure you're going to get that material right in the center of your trailer?
It's supposed to be.
Do the same thing when you're pulling on the scale. Don't hug the left side. That's the most common thing, is that the people hug the driver's side. And I don't know why, because they're closer to it. They don't know the width of their truck. They're not sure how much room they have on that passenger side. I'm sorry, I said the wrong side. They hug the left side by the driver's side. But one thing that I run into, and I just thought about it, Jim, when I'm doing test drives a lot, and what I see, people don't set themselves up with their tractor and trailer straight in a straight line.
To pull on the scale.
Or backing,
Yeah.
they've
Yeah,
got
you
the
don't-
trailer
Right.
Yeah.
cockeyed out the wrong way, and I think the same thing is true when you park anywhere. Make sure that your tractor and trailer are lined up. Mm-hmm. You know, it's going to save you in the long run. That you're not going to go ahead. And even say, wow, well, my trailer's to the left, and I need to turn to the right, and I'm going to have to back up. You know, so like you just said a minute ago, Jam, first move is forward. So always park with your tractor trailer straight, and whenever you're starting any maneuver, forward or backwards, try to make sure you're straight.
Yeah, and like you just said, to me, the secret to backing up is, one, pointing your trailer where you want to back up, the back of your trailer where you want to back up to, and then before you start to back up, you make yourself straight so you don't have to turn to get where you want to go with the trailer. You know,
Yeah.
if you're making the circle to back up in the bend, make sure you're perfectly straight and point the back of your trailer's pointed at that bend. Otherwise, it's a waste of time.
Yeah,
Point,
because
point at the direction it needs to go.
Yeah.
and then if you're backing, then you're going to have to make this crazy wide maneuver with the tractor.
Exactly.
And what if there's something
Something
there that
beside
you
you.
hadn't taken into
Yep.
account? You
Yep.
know.
Yep.
So yeah, it's all about the setup.
The straighter you are with the setup, the less movement you're going to have backing up, which makes you safer.
Yeah, not going to make that snake move.
It lowers your percentage of having an incident.
We actually talked about that last week on episode 30 with Sergeant Griniger, because when he came in, he backed in and he said that's because everybody else was backed in.
Observation.
Yep. Yeah, situational awareness.
I always back in. It's especially in a tight parking lot. Isn't it easier to back into a tight spot?
Oh,
than to
Dave,
pull in
with a,
forward
with a pickup, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, a car even as well, right?
Oh,
But
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
a pickup especially. Yeah. It's funny because my son has a pickup, and all his buddies, they're just used to these little cars. So when they're with him and it takes him 30 seconds longer to pull up and back into a spot, they're like, "Oh, do you have to be cool?" And he's like, "No, it's easier." And they're like, "What?" And it's so funny to me, you can
tons
watch a random person in a parking lot pull in a spot, and their whole right side of the car, like for instance, is across the line or on the line, and their other side has 2.5 feet to the line, and they're oblivious where if they would back in, they would almost all be centered, and it would just fix so many problems.
Yes.
But they're,
especially with backup cameras in cars today.
Oh, right.
It gives you the lines and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that TikTok running around that it says that, why do you back in? Do you need to be cool or something like that? And, if there's emergency, your first, like Jam saying, your first motion is forward. And then the end of the TikTok is because you can. You know what I mean? Because you're
Yeah.
capable of backing in.
right.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah, and there's only one thing that really foils you when you're doing that. When the car behind you in the row decides to pull up and you're like, dude, I'm backing in.
Yeah.
Just back over him.
And then you just hit your reverse lights and wait for him to get a clue,
Yeah. Yep.
So this is tying into what you were saying about the safety vest and stuff and the distracted driving. Please don't be doing anything when you're pulling on a scale or making any maneuver at all. No CB, no phone. Just drive the truck, because that is the task at hand. I don't want to throw my daughter under the bus, but when she's driving, that's her time to like make phone calls and to chit chat. And it's like, you're driving. Please just drive,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, when you say anything, Dave, it's anything. Don't be
It is.
doing anything else.
Well, and that's the distracting part, and it's difficult to realize because everyone here has hands free, so you're not holding that phone in your hand, But even though you're still distracted. Yep. You are not focused on getting that truck on the scale,
Yes.
or backing it into the bin, or whatever.
Getting off at the right exit.
Yeah. I mean, all of that stuff, and the real boo-boo that we have here, and this is the reason we've come up with pull to the scale, stop, announce yourself on the CB, then continue on to the scale, is if everyone can imagine sitting in a seat, put both your hands at the
10 and 2.
well, I was going to say, 9 and 3.
Four-
9 and 3,
four
more
and
like
eight.
if you're sitting in the pit or whatever. But let go with that right hand. Leave your left hand there and try and reach up a foot and a half in front of you and grab that microphone. What does your left hand do? It naturally comes down towards your belly. So you naturally pull that wheel to the left. So if you're driving on the scale and you're reaching for that microphone with your right hand, that left hand is naturally going to pull the wheel to the left.
How do we know that?
How do we know that? Because it's happened again and again and again.
Yeah,
And probably one more time. And I'm going to say
and
that
we-
we
and
have prayed for that not to happen anymore.
And have
And
we
we know it
ever
because
hit-
we watch it on the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we
It's-
really ever? When's the last time we hit the right side?
Long time. I mean, in
I was up at Fairplay, and the dude was distracted. He ran into the railing, remember, on the passenger side.
But it's been a while though. I mean, almost
Yeah.
all of them are left. Is all I'm
Yeah.
getting
Yes.
at, right? I mean,
99% of them are the left
Yeah,
side.
99.9 even.
Yeah,
I mean, it
yeah.
really is. It's always the driver's side.
Yeah.
which seems like you're saying, Dave, the worst. You know, because you're sitting right
you
there.
can
It's the
see
closest
it.
to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
How are you not, missing that? And like Dave's trying to give that explanation because you're busy with your right hand doing something. You know, used to be maybe it was a shift or something like that, or reaching for the CB. But you move your body, you move that hand. It's just what you do.
Yeah, I would even go as far as its lane positioning as well. I was coming down 53rd the other day, and of course, we had a lot of parked trucks on the side from the truck stop, and I see this tractor trailer coming down the road, and he was in the middle of the road, and I was picking up a truck from Peterbilt with Mikey, and so anyway, I saw it happening, and I'm like, well, I'd better just pull over right here because he's taking up the entire road. There was more than enough room for the two of us, but not with him in the middle of the road. And that's because of that lane positioning that we're talking about, pulling onto the scale or pulling under the bin. He felt that he had to stay way left, which put him way out in the middle of the road.
Ah.
And I don't know if we see that on an interstate where you've got the zippers on both sides, say the guy's in the middle lane. Do they hug that left zipper all the time?
I hope they're looking in their mirrors and realize they are, Dave, if that's the case. I mean,
Yeah, and
that's,
then learning to drive, especially
Yeah.
if you've changed a truck.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you in a wider cab? Are you in a narrower cab? Are you, where's your seat positioned according to the wheels on that truck?
Right. If you get in a 389 Pete, your seat position is very different from where it is in one of the Freightliners
Yeah,
or one of the
Freightliners,
T880s.
Yep.
You're sitting right behind the steer tire essentially, but in a 389, that steer tire's
Outside you, Dave.
outside
Yeah.
of you. Yes.
Yeah. Last time I drove a Freightliner, I was all over the right
Yeah.
side.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then the last thing on this list is the same thing. We're talking about lining yourself up so you don't hit the scale. If you have to, stop and stick your head out the window and look at where your tractor's pointed so you can line yourself up before you pull in. If you need to, stand up in the seat so you can see over your hood easier as you're lining yourself up. Do whatever works best for you, but center yourself to pull on that scale or pull under the bin. I can't tell you how many times I've seen trucks out in the parking area there at Fry, and their whole load is on the driver's side.
Dave, we
And
just
that's
had one
just-
in the shop.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
load was off to the passenger side.
And then
Because they're hugging the driver's side.
side.
right.
They're completely off to the left
Right.
side of the scale, so it's loading.
Well, I guess that's what I meant to say. It's
Yeah, the load is all on the passenger side
right,
of the
'cause they're
trailer.
hugging the driver's side once
Correct.
again. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I take pride in that drip. If I'm pulling under that drippy bin, I want that drip to come right up the center of my hood, right up the center of my windshield, and I know I'm good,
Yeah.
So anyway, it is whatever seems to work for you. Be aware of how you're pulling on scales or parking your truck. Be aware of your surroundings. Keep your steer tires straight. Line up with your tractor and trailer straight when you're parking and getting out of your truck. And be aware of your surroundings at all times. And use that mental checklist.
Awesome. Nice job, Soup.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave.
Appreciate all that.
Isn't there another
Yeah, I got
second page?
Oh, that one's not me.
Oh,
I got
That one's you, Dave. No.
I got to go back up to the top because dispatch wanted to talk about, let's please make sure we are taking a good look at our dispatch in Toro. So when you get your Toro, sometimes you just look at the city. It'll say Fort Lupton, right? That's the example that Linda gave, and then drivers end up going to LG Fort Lupton when really your dispatch is from Morton, okay?
Which happens to be in Fort Lupton.
In Fort Lupton, right. They just
Right.
see Fort Lupton. They're
Yeah.
not looking at the pit,
Yep.
and they go to LG Fort Lupton.
I mean, not to interrupt you, Jam, but isn't there two pits? Is
Well,
the original
My question, why wouldn't it say Morton?
It does say Morton.
right? But it
Okay.
shows the city as Fort Lupton.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
Right.
part of the GPS, the headings,
Okay.
how we put it in there, Dave.
I'm not familiar with it.
Trying to help everybody,
Yep.
you know. but-
Right, but isn't there still some specialty materials at LG Fort Lupton? Not LG Ragsdale, LG Fort Lupton.
Right.
I think so, Dave.
I mean, I thought we were
Yeah.
still pulling some materials out of there, so that technically, if you
Well-
want to get technical, we've got 3 Fort Lupton pits.
Right. The only thing coming out of LG Fort Lupton right now is Santa Plan 2. So
Okay.
if you're not
but there
taking
you
Santa
go.
Plan 2,
Yeah, there you go.
then
And that's not Ragsdale.
that is not Ragsdale.
Okay,
Yep.
Is Ragsdale Platteville though?
no,
No.
nope, no. It's less than a quarter mile past the exit for Fort Lupton on 18 and a half there.
Yep. Make a
It's
left.
at County Road 20, isn't it?
18.
Ragsdale? I thought it was County Road 20.
No, Ragsdale. I didn't think it was a full mile.
I've been there once. It's a nice pit.
It is a nice.
I
pitch,
enjoy
yeah.
getting loaded there.
Yeah.
You can get stuck pretty easy up there, can't you, Jim?
I'm here.
I know we've had
When you
had a
drive
couple
off in the
trucks.
wrong area, you can.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And then I wanted to lead into the next pissy conversation.
Oh, you want to take that?
I just wanted to say how pissy it is.
Let's go. So, do you want to take
Go ahead, Jeff.
What Jim is referring to is we should not be relieving ourselves outside of our trucks on customers' property. And what I mean by relieving ourselves, I mean by urinating, taking a pee, stuff like that. Use a restroom, keep it classy, right? When you could see a porta potty from where you're relieving yourself, go walk over to the porta potty, right? So if somebody from our fleet seen you doing it, maybe our customers saw you doing it as well. That's not who JFW is. We're classier than that. Step up your game.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd love to just preach on this one, Jam, because how fair is that to our lady drivers? How you don't see them just dropping their pants or they can't to go pee. I mean, I just think about it. It's
Well,
just
you wouldn't see them.
yeah, Jam. It's just like
That's a joke, Jim.
I got it. But it's so wrong. It's not being better. It's not our culture.
Right.
It's not what we're trying to do. I mean,
You could have the biggest, baddest, shiniest red truck, and that just makes it look dirty.
yeah. And then I think when this situation had happened, the person was peeing right where the tickets. You put your tickets in the box, so everybody stepped in your own piss. I mean,
Ticket in the box, pee on the ground.
Yeah, I love to just run my shoes through a bunch of pee and then step back in my floor mats. It excites me.
I do that when I get home. When I
You just
park
put
on
your
the driveway, I
shoes?
just get out. I pee on the neighbor's lawn, and then I like go in the house. It's so much faster than using the restroom in the house.
Man, I remember when I first moved to our house in Westminster. We were there maybe 2 weeks, and there was like some younger. I mean, they're in their 20s for sure. But anyway, I'm out there with my daughter, and this guy walks around to the side of the house and like pees. So, I mean, his back's to the street, but he's peeing on the corner of his own house. They're renters, obviously, right? So I got pretty fired up, and I was just like not in the right place to address. Sometimes I got to calm down before I address things, or it really just goes south. Anyway, he does it again, and I just came unglued. And I walked over there. I'm like, do you have a bathroom inside that house? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, why don't you use that? My little girl don't need to see you peeing out here. And he was just like, what? I'm like, do it again, and we'll see.
I guess that's what the reason I'm mentioning, and I know Bella and her age and all that kind of thing, but that's the same thing they're doing to the
Right.
women out there.
Yeah.
Our women drivers. So it's just not cool.
Nah.
And then by doing that, that's on you. You created that. That has nothing to do with JFW.
Choices.
Choices. Yeah.
Bad ones. All right, Jim, this is actually yours. You wanted to talk about the red light tickets.
I do want to. This is mine. I mean, I have to tune back in, Jam.
Episode 88.
Funny, I was going to say 99.
Hey, I just want to mention you guys, and I know the red light cops, that I call them, the photo radar thing. The one here in Commerce City is usually just ruthless. I don't know how many times, I've sat there, me and Dave's been going home, and you sit there and the light flashes and nobody's doing anything, and you're just like, well, what was that picture?
Just in case.
Just in case, right? But I know down in Inglewood, and I think it's running the Union plant, we get caught here in Commerce City all the time. But I just keep getting more and more of the red light violations. And a lot of times with the way the truck's set up, you can't really see the driver. And, I asked JR, I asked Jam, hey, can you just speak to this driver? But it's so clear on the violation of that the light's red and how red it is when we go through the light. And that's what concerns me. You guys were just talking about it, the drop and cover. You're coming up to a light, you drop your speed, and you cover the brake pedal because you don't know who's going to run that intersection. And I guess when I talk about how red it is the truck, it takes two pictures. The truck before the intersection and the truck obviously in the intersection with the red light. And the light's always red, you guys, before the truck is to the intersection. And then obviously it's definitely red when you're in the intersection. And you guys, it's a big safety concern. And I think I've gotten 3 to 5 down at the one in Inglewood, and then 3 or 4 more here in Commerce City in the last couple of months. And we got to knock it off, you guys. We can't, otherwise we're going to have to do something, create a program.
Oh, God. Not another program.
Right? To stop people from doing that. Whether it's taking the safety bonuses. I mean, really, we really should look at just taking the safety bonuses because it is a safety violation. But here again, we're trying to make ourselves better, have a positive podcast, and we got to bring up the situation of running the red light. And there's no excuse. It's just like getting out of the truck and peeing. There's no excuse for that.
It's a choice.
It's a choice, for you not dropping your speed and covering your brake for that light. Just Dave, you've said it for 100 years, a stale red light, right? Or a stale green light, I guess, however you want to look at it. You've been driving up to that intersection. I mean, how far away can you see a light in most cases? And it's been green for a long time. And you go, oh, wow.
That's going to change.
That's going to change. That's going to change, right? Yeah. And so, you guys, we got to do something about it. So that's my little rant about the red lights. Please.
Very often and I'm guilty because I've gotten caught in Commerce City here. But you're following the row of traffic, so everybody's, and it kills me that first car doesn't go.
Yeah, sits
They're
there.
sending a text or something. Anyway, you're following. Let's just say 4 cars out that light. You got to know that it's going to change. And I don't know, do you stop while it's still green? But you can't just assume that you're going to make it.
Right, Dave?
Because you're not.
Right. And I would love to, because your analogy there is the light turned green, you're loaded, you're 3 cars back, the first car was on the phone, the other 2 cars are talking to each other, and as you're leaving the light, it changes on you, right? Mm-hmm. And goes through. So along with all these tickets, there's a video that goes with it that shows, I think, your estimated speed and all this kind of stuff. These are lights changing why we're moving. Not one of them is you've sat there and gotten caught.
That's how I've been caught in Commerce City.
Exactly. And I totally agree with you.
You know the one I'm talking about.
Oh, I do. I do. It's either slow or fast, right? Mm-hmm. So these are all moving violations where you're traveling at, whatever, 35, 40 miles an hour.
Yeah. What's kind of cool is you could download the video right from the red light ticket.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
the photo
Jim.
radar thing.
Yeah.
I remember you were asking about that one because it looked like we blew a red light and there was a bunch of traffic in the intersection. Those cars were stuck making a left turn.
Wow.
Yeah, they couldn't finish making a
So they couldn't even get out of the way. So that's a situation they could have been lined up in front of you.
Yeah, it wasn't. I guess it was more in our driver's favor. He
Gotcha.
did end up blowing a red light,
Sure.
but it wasn't red very long. And those other cars were just gridlocked.
Ah,
Yeah, so just to kind of address that real quick. So
yeah. But it does. There's back to the video.
Yep.
I mean, and it's not even our video.
right,
You know, we don't even have to pull our video.
we still do. Great.
Questions
All right.
from the audience, Jan? None?
No questions. Nobody had anything to ask.
I was
us.
ready.
Man,
I will pose a question from the audience
great.
because Oswaldo basically asked me yesterday. He has a question from his audience.
Oh,
Yeah. Several drivers have asked him because they've heard the rumor that Albert Fry has sold.
Ooh, yeah,
To
that's
Martin
some
Marietta.
hot gossip going on. Yeah.
So I personally had a conversation with Al Fry yesterday because I wanted to know, right?
inquiring minds
Yes.
want to know.
And
Yes.
you gotta say how Albert answered you.
Oh
Dave.
man, Al is such a classy guy. I love him. He's got such a, I don't want to say a dark sense of humor because it's not dark, but it's
Witty.
It's dry.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it's that,
witty.
it's that
yeah.
deadpan that just catches you.
It is.
right?
It is. And he goes, Dave, he goes, I've been hearing this for a long time. And he said, I heard it recently. And he goes, when I woke up this morning, I checked my bank account. And he goes, to the best of my knowledge, I still haven't sold. And he said, I still see the name on the gate. So I goes, I guess it's mine still, or, the family's or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
So anyway, there's your answer to your rumors.
Sweet.
That's why they're called rumors.
That's right. And boy, they spread fast. Don't
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yep.
don't they?
Everybody wants a juicy rumor going.
Yep.
Yep.
There's a one floating around about you, Super Dave.
Yeah, cool. It's not true.
The good thing about Al and the family, though, is when they do sell, it's because they've worked their ass off for years, for generations, and if they make a big profit, congratulations, good for them.
Absolutely.
He,
know.
I mean,
That's,
he did explain why.
American Dream right there, right?
Right,
Cinderella
Dave.
story.
Right.
Yeah, he did explain why some of the rumor is being, it's kind of being pronounced a little bit almost, or built up a little bit. But he has four brothers he has three brothers and a sister. There's a total of four boys and a sister in it. But anyway, I believe Ben is the third youngest brother, and he has the same disease that Al Sr. had. And it's very similar to ALS. Your mind is very sharp, but you lose control of your body. And it's progressing along much faster than they had anticipated. And I think he's lost his ability to walk now and things like that. And it's, those things kind of change your life for sure, especially as you get older. And then his next closest brother in age, Joe, that's partnered with him, always been over sales and stuff like that. He just moved to Ohio with his wife to retire out there. So he's going to retire at the end of the year and be with his wife's family in Ohio. So Al says, when you look from the outside in, he's like, everybody's abandoning ship is how it looks, but he goes, nothing has really changed as such, so I'm sure if the right party came along, it could be under a different name,
JFW?
Every man has his price, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Go up to the JFW pit in Idaho Springs. Now, there's a rumor.
right?
Yeah, there is a rumor, but I mean, we've got some lines of credit some places, but I don't think they're big enough.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, safety topic of the week is brought to you by JR. It is getting dark out earlier. Make sure you get out and look and/or use a spotter. Use the marker lights from the trucks parked next to you to help you see while you're parking. It's kind of a tip and trick as well, but yeah, if you're not sure, stop. I mean, we keep saying that. Just stop, get out, look, get help. Just don't keep backing up blindly and start running into our own equipment.
Yeah, we talked about that, I think, a couple episodes ago
yeah.
or whatever it was, and then, throw the four ways on for that extra light if you need to. And I know I mentioned that I used to love to, barely step on the brake pedal, but that changes with the automatics, you know, and you used to sometimes be able to crack your Johnny bar on, really not apply brakes, but bring your brake lights on, and that would help, and that's just not true. So I think the marker trick, on the other truck is probably the best, which is, a few steps to the door, you open it up, you turn the light on, and
Some guys will use the
brakes.
trucks parked opposite of you as well. Not the truck directly in front of you, but they may
On the
turn
sides.
Yeah, and that'll shine just that white light, so.
Yeah, I've tried that, Jim. That's our old trick, with the big old Johnny bar we had in the drum brakes. You just can't do it with the new
No,
brakes
no, it's-
and the pinch valves, man.
Right.
They apply, and you're like,
Locked in.
Yeah, you
Same thing
can't-
with,
yeah.
stepping on the brake a little bit, Dave. It kicks the transmission
Yeah.
out, Yeah.
Yeah. It used to work, not anymore.
No.
All right, tips and tricks from Ray Davis. Great job on this one, Ray. It's easy to read. Checking the clearance on your dry fenders. How many of you check to see if you have clearance in between your tires and your dry fenders? When you dump your bags, walk to open the tailgate. You can check by putting your hand in between the top of your tires and the fender. Be sure all the air is out of your bags completely before you put your hands in between your tire and your fender. You don't want to smash your hand in between your tires and the fender. Right? Be stuck there. If your tire is rubbing on the fender, you need to write it up right away so you don't rub a hole in your fender from the tire rubbing when you pull forward. You should have at least a couple of inches between your tires and your fenders. You should be checking them regularly. The brackets do move from vibration or a bolt being loose. Hope all is well with the JFW family, friends, and listeners. Remember, safety has no blind spot. Look lean, sit up in that stool, don't be a fool. Much love and respect, Ray 0013. So, yeah, me and Dave, Brother Dave, had a conversation once. There was holes in fenders. I was like, oh, somebody drove with their airbags down. And Dave pretty much set me straight. Like, with the airbags all the way down, the fenders should not be rubbing your tires.
Should
no
not.
matter what.
Absolutely not.
It is like a freaking pet peeve of mine, Jam.
It looks like crap.
Ray's heard me, bring it up, and you're just like, when you see a fender and there's two burned
Right.
tire holes gouged through it, you're like, number one, why did we drive like that? Number two, why was the fender so low? I mean, what's really interesting is, I don't want to say all because this will come back and bite me, but we have almost all of the trucks programmed that you can't drive with the PTO in or the bags down over like 5 miles an hour.
Right.
So, I mean, and we're still fighting that. And, we've gone over with the shop about mounting those high enough and putting a 2x4 in there before they're mounted with the airbags aired down. And I mean, just, every way, shape, and form, we try and go over that at installation, during use, just all of that. And then when you see it, I'm just like, oh my freaking God. You're just like, it just twists me
And
because
it's not uncommon. I've seen it
Yeah.
on trucks here
Yeah.
and there for years.
I bet there's
really.
probably 5 in the yard right now, Dave, and it shouldn't happen. We shouldn't have it. We should buy that fender and it should stay on there unless, God forbid, we have a blowout or something like that for the life of that truck.
Right.
Yeah, and I noticed in the beginning here with Ray, and I wouldn't think anybody wouldn't know, but what are your drive fenders? What are drive fenders? Because that sounds a little weird to me.
Yeah, good point.
Well, like mud flaps, basically.
Yeah, but
You mean they're plastic? Is that where you're going?
well, drive fenders. Drive fenders. They don't really
Where are they?
exactly.
Oh, where are they?
Drive fenders.
They're on the steer tires. Yeah, pretty much they cover your front and rear drive tires.
Exactly. I just wanted, in case anybody was like, we made up a new name, I guess. I don't know. Some people.
Oh, I've had it in my classes. I go through it and somebody's like, which one's the front sight? That would be the one in the front.
Well, the one closest to me is in the front, though,
There
Jam.
you go. Turn around.
Looking down the barrel.
Turn around.
Don't turn it around.
No, you turn around.
Oh man. So anyway,
hilarious.
the drive fenders are over your drive tires, you guys, and those are the tires on the truck. In case we have some guys that are questioning it, they do all the driving of the vehicle, right? They're the
Aside from the driver.
Unless it's automated.
Yes.
Can I go back to
Autonomous.
my dad joke? Everything happens for a reason. I read that this morning, and I'm telling you, it hit a funny bone in me, and I was like, that's so true.
You need to read that one before every podcast. All right, Soup, you're up again. You want to hit us with that high road
Oh,
hauling?
sure. Yep. I've got a great high road hauling. I think it will hit home with just about everybody out there, but it is a little bit about trust and about children, I guess. So, as usual, Jam always takes off when I'm high road hauling. I guess he doesn't like the high road hauling.
It's his bathroom breaks, and
It is.
he knows he doesn't have to
Right?
It's going to go for a
coach
few
us-
minutes.
yeah.
Yeah.
coach us through something.
I'm just glad he's not peeing in the corner while you're.
I was going to be really politically incorrect. I was going to say it, and I thought, no, I better not, but I'm going to do it right now. You don't think about pooping outside your truck. Why would you pee outside your
Because
truck?
you got to pull your pants all the way down, Dave. Got to expose something,
Right?
You
It's
know?
all wrong.
Oh, Tiny Tim, you can't see it.
I just got out of the pool.
So, this high road hauling is about trust. Trust is a two-way street. Why do you feel you can trust some people but not others? Why are you a trustworthy person or not? Trusting adults were trusting children when they were younger. We must start teaching our children to trust us so they can identify who is trustworthy or not later on. Parents have a significant role in how their children develop trust. We have the opportunity to really start our children off with a full trust tank. The concept of trust is a complicated one. It takes years to build and moments to shatter, and the presence or absence of it strongly affects a person's happiness in life. To trust more is to worry less, and to worry less usually means to be less anxious and less stressed. Here are 8 ways to help build and keep trust with your kids, friends, coworkers, or anyone else you want to trust you. Number 1, listen. Listening is different than hearing. Listening is an action. To listen to someone means to recognize their words, but more importantly, understand the message. We can show we are listening by paraphrasing their words back to them, and this also helps us retain and understand their statement. Number 2, attune. Attuning is taking listening a step farther. It is anticipating a person's needs by their body language, voice tone, and energy. For example, when a child or person is stressed out about a recent situation that didn't go the way they wanted, you focus on a solution, not the negative energy of the child. Use your body language, voice tone, and calming energy to de-escalate the problem. They, in turn, realize that you're recognizing their needs and are taking action on their behalf. Number 3, use your eye contact. People learn a lot about a person's intention by focusing on their eyes. When speaking to a child, get down and gently look into his or her eyes. Let your child see what sincerity really looks like. Also, number 4, respond. People and children alike will verbally or non-verbally ask for help as long as they believe their needs will be answered. In order to grow trust, the request for help needs to be answered to the best of your ability. When they are feeling overwhelmed, they learn they can ask for help from people who they trust. And keep your promises. Do what you say you're going to do. This is number 5 in our creed. We are accountable for our words and our actions. Only promise what is reasonable and within your ability. There is no better way to instill trust in someone than to keep your word. To tell the truth, get in the habit of not using white lies with people. It also helps little ones understand what positive moral ethics are. Everyone, even your children, will find out eventually when you are not telling the truth. And number 7, establish boundaries, consistency, and routine. You might be wondering how this affects trust. It actually does quite a bit. When a child can trust things in a certain order, when a child can trust things happen in a certain order, the brain can relax, staying away from figuring out a way to manipulate the situation. And number 8, be open. People will make mistakes, but being open about your shortcomings, fears, and struggles allow others to be open as well, and that they can trust you because you demonstrated your vulnerability. So those are some simple ways that we can help instill trust in our children and also build trust with our friends and families and coworkers and so forth. So I love this quote this week, you guys. I just think it rings so true, and I read it a long time ago, but I don't think I've ever used it in a high road hauling piece. But to be trusted is a greater compliment than being loved. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I agree in that, Dave.
Yeah. That was spoken by George MacDonald. He was a Scottish author, poet, and minister who lived from 1824 to 1905.
Nice.
So, but yeah, it's an ultimate compliment to know that you're trusted.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
Yeah.
that's huge.
Final thoughts, everyone?
Yeah, I'll touch a little bit on the Super Dave's High Road Hauling, to talk about trust. And I think that's, you mentioned lying and children and learning that, Dave. Sometimes it's the trust of I guess for a simple one is when you don't show up on time. You haven't lied and you haven't done anything, but we can't trust you to show up on time. And let's use Coors for an example. You're supposed to be the 4:00 guy under the can. You didn't lie or anything. You just didn't show up. So we don't trust you. So we have to go to a different situation.
Yep.
And I guess, Dave mentioned earlier, about the choices we make, that a lot of times it's the choices that you make. Well, it stops us from trusting you. And, in a few cases, people that we have around here have made some personal choices and we end up stop trusting. But it's not a lie.
Right.
It's the trust. I guess the trust is such a big thing.
It's accountability and a lie. I guess they're tied together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We start off by giving you trust. We've had this debate before where people say trust is earned, but that's not really true. Trust is given.
Yeah.
Right? When you get hired on here, we already are giving you trust to do the job safely and correctly, right? Distrust is earned, right? You've given us a reason to distrust you. You've earned that distrust. Well, then we need to forgive you again and give you that trust back.
Yeah.
And then it's up to you to not earn that distrust again.
We
exactly.
talk about choices, and I don't want to mess up your stuff there, Jim, but a choice, I think a choice sounds very simple, but a choice means you made a decision. You chose to do something. And I think that carries more weight when you say it that way.
Sure.
Like, I chose to park over there, and even though it's a bad choice, I chose to do that. You know what I mean? It just puts it in a little,
Sure.
I don't know, a little heavier light maybe. I'm not sure. So I didn't want to take away from Jim's final thoughts there, but yeah, when you've chosen, you made that decision, you've chosen to do that. It's not like, oh, that was a bad choice. Well, that wasn't your choice. You chose to do that. I don't know. It feels heavier when you put it that way for some reason to me.
Yeah, I wish I could be that person that doesn't give trust until somebody earns it. You know what I mean? That people
Right.
are skeptical, or they just don't believe you because they don't know you or whatever. I tend to trust everybody, and that's
Everybody,
either
right, Dave?
either a fault or
Yeah.
something good. I don't
He's
know.
a murderer. I
But-
trust him.
Well, he hasn't murdered anybody, I know.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say. And I read a quote when I was doing this thing. It was Eminem, and so right the rapper dude, right?
I know who he is, yeah.
Anyway, he said, "Hey, I keep my circle tight because that way I don't have to not trust you or whatever. So I keep his circle tight. So he only trusted people he deals with every day. But yeah, it's definitely a different kind of thing. You give trust, but you have to earn it too.
I mean, you think about the men and women that have been in war, right? And they're trained to do a certain thing a certain way. And when that person doesn't, that's protecting your life or has your back or whatever the case may be, you've trusted that person. And I bet when you screw up and you've lost that trust, I bet in a company or something like that, meaning not a
You don't
business,
get
a
it
company,
back.
you don't get it back.
Yeah.
It's done. You made that choice, and you put people's lives in danger, at risk, and that you're out. I mean, that is not somebody they want.
Yeah, if you're the guy that's out there finding the landmines and you're not doing that very well, that's a problem.
Right? Right? Exactly.
Yeah, I guess that's where my thought was going. And I know, Jam, you just mentioned it about trust is given, Dave. You're hoping you don't trust. But we trust that when you have a driver's license and you take them on a test drive, we train you. When you leave, we shouldn't be hitting the scales. We trust in that. We trust that you're not peeing outside. You know what I mean? And Dave, you're mentioning somebody in war. I've taken Jam's gun class and I've talked about it. When I first get that gun, when I haven't done anything with it, I'm scared of it. I'm worried about it. Jam, in your classes, if you got that same person, whether man or woman, that keeps turning and pointing the gun at you, they're not going to be in your class very long, are they?
Yeah, you don't trust them.
Not holstering it or not.
Yeah, first time is burpees, and after that, you got to go.
Right? I mean, but the trust is given up front, right? You've covered it, Jam, and I guess that's where...
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't trust people with guns right away, that's for sure. That's definitely earned.
But still, when you line everybody up, you're going to trust they're going to shoot at the target, right, Jam?
I would hope so.
Yeah, that's what and I guess that's the same thing when we leave here. And
Sure.
I know your High Road Holland, Dave. It was great about the lying part of it, but I just took the so much trust out of it because your kids can't trust you if you're not giving them the ability to see that you're doing things and making good choices. I wouldn't think my girls would be the people they are if they didn't see me and Holly make choices that were good choices. Same for you and Jackie, Dave. Same for
you
Bella
gotta learn.
and Sam and other people out there.
Sure.
You got to learn who to trust.
Yeah.
And why.
Yeah, exactly. And at first it's just given. So you guys got to make good choices. That's kind of my closing thoughts. And the other thing is, and hopefully we, as Kendrick's, changing up our training and stuff like that, and with JR, and we have new people coming on board and things like that, and the people that are already listening, that we keep an involvement in the podcast here, that there's, questions from the audience. If you want to know anything, reach out to Jam, reach out to any one of us so we can get it in the podcast. The question that's not asked is the dumb question. And, we love to talk about, it sounds like we're stuck up, but love to talk about ourselves. We love to be transparent here and try to answer questions. That's the reason when I talked about the PTO. I want people to understand that, it wasn't, it took Chris 2 hours because he disassembled the PTO. It wasn't that he wasn't doing a bad job.
You had to take the cover off the PTO, drain all the oil out of the transmission, found the broken part in there.
Yeah. It just wasn't, that kind of stuff. We're here for you, when you're, like we're switching to Toro or doing different things like that, or you want to know what's going on at 23, or maybe you have a suggestion that you see, maybe we're having to pee outside, which I know this didn't happen in this circumstance. Maybe we just need to ask Brandon for a toilet.
Yeah, maybe we need to get one.
Maybe we need to get one. Yeah, I mean we've tried to put one up at Arcosa instead of having to stop and use theirs. I know we put that one. We put another one at 23. It's the things. How do we get better if we don't know about it, for one thing, and maybe it's just a simple conversation. So please, if you're I hope everyone's listening to the podcast. Please take the time during the week to listen to the podcast. But if you have an idea or a suggestion, spit it out. Be involved. Just don't go back and forth here like this is a job, because it's not just a job.
A couple people exposed themselves while I was on vacation that they don't listen to the podcast because they had no idea I was gone.
Right? That's so then there you go, Jim. And hopefully, will you trust those people again?
One of them definitely not.
Because you're like, well, I just told you that on the podcast. Well, you don't have my trust.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we're asking you to do something because this is better than trying to line up at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Yep.
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday and listen to our safety meeting.
Get wrenches thrown at you.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Yelled at, I've only yelled once or twice on the podcast, so it's much better.
Why do you have a wrench up here, though? Duck soup.
So, yeah. Anybody else? I'm done, you guys.
Brother Dave's been writing over there.
Yeah, I got some notes. I know we talked about it. I just can't remember whether it was on the podcast about your microphone. Were we on the podcast about your microphone?
Yeah, you said it 2 weeks ago, didn't you, that you were going to try it?
Yeah.
Dad just wants to give you a shout out. And that I guess that's what I should have asked is we were talking about Dad. Were we on the air?
Yes.
About
No.
I didn't think so.
No,
I
we
thought that
hadn't
was
started
the
yet.
So
yeah.
Just shout out. Dad wants to give you a shout out. How good
better
you
you
sound
sound
with the new microphone.
Great. Should we order 3 more or 4 more? Or you guys are good?
Well, I think you were the one no one could hear.
Right. Just the host had the problems with the mic. So, Senior, I'm glad to please you.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
been a long time coming.
Thanks for pointing that out, Pops. So,
And then Jim and Dave, thanks for making room in the budget to be able to afford this microphone.
yeah, I guess I want to kind of close out with, to a degree, almost a shout out. It's not really, closing arguments like we talk about or final thoughts, but kind of a shout out for being out of your comfort zone. And, I know we mentioned Rich and Joni already, for Rich running for city council for Commerce City and what that put them in, but I want to throw Dad in there too. He's out of his comfort zone right now. He's moved out of his house and moved into I guess you could call it
Independent living, Dave,
Thank
is,
you,
is
Jim.
his spot.
Yeah, exactly. And anyway, it's an apartment complex. That's it in a nutshell, but it's a damn nice apartment complex, and it's new for him, right? I mean, Mom passed away back in July, and he's trying to find his footing and going through a lot. And when you're out of your comfort zone like that, there's new things that you find and feel and learn and go through and discover, and just a lot going on. So I guess for me, again, a shout out for Rich and Joni for taking on that city council seat, to try it. And you guys, I'm so proud of all three of you, right? Dad included. You guys were all out of your comfort zone. Dad still is, but I got faith and a lot of grit. He's a pretty gritty guy, and I know he'll get through that. And also the other person that we mentioned here that I know we're not saying names, but that person that's worked here a long time that's got a lot of stuff going on. My thoughts and prayers are with you, buddy. So
Amen.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I got it.
That's all I got for shout outs. Or it's not shout outs, my closing thoughts.
Closing shout-outs.
Those are my thoughts, right?
Closing shout-outs.
Yeah, closing shout outs.
I want to add to that, if you don't mind, Dave, because it's a great shout out or
Steal
close
my
out or
thunder,
whatever.
steal my
Yeah,
thunder,
I'm
buddy.
stealing it. It is just what an example, as I was thinking about it, is you talk about Joni and Rich, and then we discuss Dad, and I guess that's one thing here in the podcast, we try to have that positivity here, but Dad's 85 years old. He's going to be 86 in March, so 4 months away, basically.
Spring chicken.
And he's still having to change, and he's still having to grow and adapt. And I guess that would be my thought I'd want to tell everybody is it doesn't ever stop. We're asking you guys to change, adapt, think about your choices. At 85, Dad's still having to make some choices and adapt and change, and he's still growing. At 85, the guy is still growing. So we don't ever stop. Life doesn't ever stop. And I think that's important to everybody to recognize, even though we're using Dad as an example. You can't stop. You can't just go, I'm not going to grow. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to do that kind of stuff.
Jim, it literally only stops when you've died.
When you've stopped.
That's not when you've stopped.
When you stop.
You've died. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That is a deep thought, Jim, because you don't really think about it. You think, okay, well, you're 80 or 90 years old, and you think, well, I've lived, and I'm sitting on the porch in my rocking chair, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at, Dave. You're thinking you don't have to change.
Not it. You
No.
have to.
No.
You have to adapt. I mean, every day they might be small adaptations, but I mean, it's like, God, my hip hurts today. I got to walk with a limp. That's change,
Yeah.
right?
So Ben Franklin has a quote: "When you're finished changing, you're finished."
That is it to a T, isn't it?
Just to finish up with Dad is Dave had a conversation with him yesterday. We moved Dad in, just so everybody kind of knows the background here, to the independent living on Monday. Okay. The family kind of spent all day getting him set up, great apartment. The place is fantastic. And yesterday was his first day on his own, and Dave called and checked on him, and Dad told Dave, which we all will be facing. He goes, "You don't understand because you're not my age." And how true. We none of us here understand.
In those shoes, right?
We're not 85.
Yep.
And so a good statement, but like Dave said, a shout out for him. I hope he continues to change. And this may not look like the best situation, but again, we've talked about it in lots of podcasts. The what if, what if Dad's health fails or goes downhill from here? this is a safe place for him. You know, and it may not seem like it, because in a little bit of ways where it looks like he's losing his independence, which is not. It's just another chapter in life. So everybody don't always embrace that change.
I would love for people to take care of things for me.
Right, Jam? I mean, because of, I think, the age we're at,
Right.
because Danielle and Tyler have said the same thing. You know, I'll live there,
Yeah.
you know, because it's
Right?
it's easy. You're taking that stress of our everyday life off, but
Right.
he's looking at it. You're taking away something that I've done my whole life.
Yeah.
Is deal with that, you know,
Sure.
that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's
Understood.
yeah.
Soup, you have any more final thoughts?
No, but I love
Closing
touching
shout-outs.
on these because these are really interesting thoughts, you know. And as everybody gets older, they're gonna have to change, and their lives do change. You know, if every stage is significant. You know,
Yeah.
whether you're 20, whether you're 80.
Oh, yeah.
And I've
You know?
I've talked about it with Jam, or where I got it. Mainly, if I heard it in church circumstances, it's a new season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Dave, you talked about it a little bit ago with Sam leaving off to college. That's kind of yours and Janet's new season.
Yeah.
You know, and Dad's new season, and
Mm-hmm.
I just hope everybody embraces it. And you know, again, Dave, the situation with one of our guys that have been here so long, his season's changing.
Yeah.
And I want to help him shovel the snow if that's what it takes.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there might be a little snow on the roof, but there's still a fire in the fireplace.
Yeah.
Hey. Well, my final thoughts. I'm probably going to jump all over the place here. I'm going to try not to get emotional, but
Bing, 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 bing.
that helps.
Break it up a little bit for you, Jen.
Yeah,
Nice,
so
nice mic you have.
thank you. Thank you. When me and Mikey were I was about to put a stalk on some elk, and Mikey could tell I got keyed up a little bit. I wasn't like shaking or anything, but
Buck fever.
no, it wasn't buck fever.
No.
Buck fever to me is you're getting ready to take that shot and you can't hold still. Like, I'm pretty calm in these situations. I felt calm inside, but Mikey said he could see it in my eyes. My demeanor changed. So we're driving, and he says, "Did you see any of those bluebirds today?" And I'm like, what? I'm thinking about elk, but it was a good laugh. So I appreciate the distractions, right? So anyway, first let me start off with, that's the longest I've been away from JFW this past time. And I really needed to go, but I also really look forward to coming back. JFW, you know, when you're gone for this long and it's time to come back to work, there was not one part of me that was like, oh my gosh, I got to go back to work. It's like, man, I'm ready to get back in the saddle. I'm ready to, get behind the trigger. I'm ready to get back in the swing of things. And I miss my JFW family. Like, you guys are important to me. And I don't mean the men in this room. I mean everybody from upstairs here down to the Wash Bay. Like, we spend a lot of time here, and it is really a privilege to work with everybody. But the benefits too. The PTO program that we have is, in my eyes, robust, right? It is great. If you play your cards right and you do what you're supposed to do, you will have plenty of time to go do something that you love and enjoy. And I can't say that I've had that at other places. It's like, you're barely getting enough to like breathe, While on my trip, I was able to fill my cup back. I was coming out of a pretty tough personal season, and for me to be able to go somewhere for 8 days and not have cell service 90% of the time was very, very freeing, because I'm so connected. I'm on my phone between emails, text messages, social media, PT, like, it just never stops. And I picked my phone up a few times because of the habit. It's like, oh, I can't check my Facebook. Oh, I can't check my email. Oh, I can't make a phone call. Oh, I didn't miss a call. Like, to be completely disconnected was exactly what I needed. So I guess that's not what everybody needs, but take advantage of the benefits here at JFW. Take advantage of being able to go somewhere and disconnect yourself from work and from the stresses of life. It doesn't need to be a hunting trip. It could be a spa thing. It could be whatever it is that you want. But JFW allows you to go do those things. So I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense or not, but I just love working here. We have a different way of saying that. I won't say on the air.
It's with passion, though.
Yeah, it is with passion. So I don't know. I missed everybody. It's great to be back, but I encourage you all to go fill your cup somewhere when you can. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Channel 23 podcast. Hit that follow button. Also, don't forget to go back and listen to episode 72 and help find Amber's mom. Links to her story will be in the description of today's podcast. So let's say the creed and get on out of here.
Awesome.
Right
great.
on.
Together we face and overcome all that stands before us. Together we are accident-free. Together we joyfully create honest value for those we serve. Together we celebrate our differences and respect those with whom we work. Together we are accountable for our words and our actions. Together we are the JFW family.
Thanks, everybody.
High road up.
I wrote up.
See y'all.
High road up.
I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. I hear there's a couple million tons to move. I see them everywhere. So you best get out their way and watch that sand and gravel disappear. There's another run to make. We gotta get it there on time. And we got what it takes to lay it all out on the line. We'll lay it all out on the line. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks got the best drivers in town. They got all the tools they need to keep that hammer down. When they hit them scales, they won't need to dodge them, won't need to duck them. They just keep that hammer down, and they keep that diesel trucking. Keep that hammer down, and keep that diesel trucking. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. They just keep them doors a-closed, keep them butts in their seats, cause those customers are calling, and those red trucks can't be beat. They've gotta put the hammer down and pick up another load. Get it off the ground, keep them eyes open and on the road. Keep them eyes open on the road. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Breaker 23, anybody got a copy on that Channel 23 podcast? Welcome, and thanks for listening.